Hello, welcome in or welcome back to my channel. My name is Deb from DG Reads, and I am here to kick off a weekend challenge reading vlog. Okay, full transparency, it's Saturday. I started this vlog on Friday. I recorded an intro. I didn't realize that part of that intro corrupted, so had to refilm this initial part. I did know that my battery died, or at least that's what I thought happened, and therefore I have half of it. I have the prompt reveal and the first book pick and all that is still filmed. For some reason, the initial part, when the battery died or whatever happened, did not save to my memory card. So that's very unfortunate. This is going to be a bit of a hot mess of an intro, but it is what it is, and the reading has already commenced, so I'm going to continue. What I told you yesterday when I initially did this intro is that I have this nifty little jar. This is full of different prompts, and the idea with these weekend reading challenges is to pick a weekend where I really don't have anything big going on and I can devote it to reading, and I pull out a prompt. Some of them are pretty easy and allow me a lot of freedom. Some are a little more chaotic and offer less freedom to pick what I want to read. So it can be a little bit of everything. I've had a lot of fun doing these and was very excited and nervous to pick the prompt here. I knew that this was the last weekend for a while, that I had absolutely no plans going on aside from reading type things. So that was why I decided to go for a challenge this month. So with that, I'm going to kick it back to past me, who is about to reveal the prompt. And that clip is going to be chaotic too. There was a helicopter. It was a whole thing yesterday afternoon. Clearly, things were just not working my way. But it is now Saturday. Things are going pretty well. Sneak peek for the things ahead. And I'll see you later after the rest of the clips I've already filmed. Okay, my battery died on me just as I was about to make the big reveal, and now we have a helicopter circling up overhead for some reason. So apparently chaos is the name of the game this weekend. So to add to that, the prompt that we got was randomized shelf. So my shelves at the moment are barely organized chaos. So I think what I'm going to do on this side of the room, there are 5 stacks of books on the back of my futon. I'm going to count that as 1 through 5. And then I have a few shelves where I've already read everything, so we're not going to count those. And let's count the rest behind me. There's just a ridiculous amount of noise from this helicopter. I apologize. I'm assuming it's probably chaotic on the filming, but I want to pick my first book before I lose entirely the light in this room. So we've got 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 here. 11, 12, and 13 in this shelf. We're going to count the book cart that you can't see as 14. And then 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. And then the bookshelves that I have downstairs are going to count as 22 through, let's say, 26. I think that's right. I could be wrong. I might have to renumber them later, but that's what we're going to consider it for right now. So 26 shelves. Now to bring up a number generator and see where in this chaos this will bring us. Okay, screen recording numbers 1 to 26. Let's see what we get for our first book. We got 6. So that's 5. So 6 is here. All right, that gives me options. Okay, for this shelf, I'm going to go with I'll Look So Hot in a Coffin and Other Thoughts I Used to Have About My Body by Carla Susenko. And this one is from the Dial Press. It's due out on May 6th. I think this should be an interesting read. I don't know too much going into it, but it is various essays. So I think this is one that I will read throughout the weekend. So I'm going to go ahead and pick another book for something that I have, hopefully maybe an audiobook or just something that I want to binge read in one sitting, where this is one that I'll probably space out the different essays. So let's do a second random number generator. All right, we're going to do one more spin. And this time we got 7. Okay, so 7 is this one. Wow. Let's see what we want from here. There's actually a bunch on here I've already read. I think I'm going to start with a new acquisition, and that is Rose House by Arcady Martin. And this one is a gifted copy that I received from Tor.com. It's an AI house, from what I understand, and it's a super short one. So I think it'll be a good, easy binge for tonight to figure out how I'm doing with it and get through this and then be able to pick up another one this evening. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to sit, get myself a nice glass of water, put on my PJs, get cozy, and read this one to start things off, and probably go ahead and start in on my essay collection as well before I check back in with you later on. This one, I think I'm just going to binge read the whole thing. It's so short before I check in. Okay, put on some random PJs. I figured flamingo PJs seemed random enough. And I am about ready for bed. I ordered some Thai food, had a interesting one. Not sure it's very traditional. It's a Queen's chicken, something like that, but it was basically fried chicken pieces, and then the sauce had jalapeno and onion and cabbage and other stuff. It was actually really tasty. The wontons, not so much. This was a new Thai restaurant because the place I've ordered from before was going to take 90 minutes to get to me. So anyway, that was my evening. Got enough that that's going to feed me for the whole weekend. And then snuggled with Kylie a little bit. Got a couple things done that I needed to get done, but mostly just sat and read. So I do have a couple of updates before I pick another book and go to bed. I am 60-ish. Yeah, 60 pages into I'll Look So Hot in a Coffin. This is by Carla Sosenko. I very much could be mispronouncing that. I don't have an audiobook, so I can't test it. But this one is a bunch of essays, memoirs, types of things about her experience with perception of her body. She has a disorder that's TK. It has a longer actual full name that I'm not even going to try to pronounce, but it's basically something that has left her with some very visible differences in her body. She has fatty lumps on her back. She has one leg that's bigger than the other. She has one leg that's longer than the other, and various parts of her body just don't appear the same as someone else. So this is something she's lived with for her entire life, and in general, she feels like she's pretty lucky in that it hasn't caused her major health issues, aside from giving her challenges in terms of walking long distances, creates extra exhaustion, just things like that. And she's talking a lot in here about people who just feel the right to make comments about her body or touch her body or ask her questions, and just the different things she's had to put up with. And I am finding it very readable. I really like her sense of humor and her straightforward kind of narrative with this. So I very quickly made it a good chunk of the way into this one and will be happy to continue it tomorrow. And then I also read and finished Rose House by Arkady Martine. And this one is about an AI house, as I mentioned, and it's a murder mystery, I guess, at its core. This is set in the future. An architect was known for creating very fantabulous houses, and Rose House was his finest achievement. His dead body has been kept in this house. And it's a little bizarre. The house is basically sealed off from the world. Nobody can get in. It is artificially intelligent in and of itself, and it makes sure to keep everything closed out. There is one person who is allowed in once a year for 1 week, and this is one of the architect's former students or proteges, and she has 1 week in a year to go in and go through his documents, his research, his everything, and she's the only one allowed in. Well, the house calls the local precinct to say that there's a dead body within it. And how this happened when nobody's allowed in, we quickly find out that the person who's allowed into the house has been out of the country, so doesn't seem to be involved. And the person who took the call from this AI goes out to investigate, basically, but is limited by what the house will allow them to do and how to access the house's information. It's very interesting in concept. I think I didn't quite get as many answers as I would have wanted. There's some things that are kept vague that I think I wanted a little more fleshed out. And the ending felt maybe a little less than fully satisfying. I think overall, this is a 3.5 read for me. It is not a new book. It came out originally in 2023, but I think maybe it came out with a different publisher and it's being reissued by Tor.com. That's the impression I got just from looking at Goodreads and the cover change. And I saw people talking about it with a different publisher originally. So I think that's what went on with this one. But in any case, I did enjoy my time reading it and overall liked it. So a success. But with that, I do want to go ahead and pick up one more book before I go to bed. I don't think I'm going to be reading it much tonight. It's 11 o'clock. I'm kind of ready to pass out, but that way I can kind of use it in the morning as I'm getting ready and not need to come back on camera before I'm ready to do so. So let us pull back up our random number generator and screen record, and let's see what we get. 26. So that's all the way downstairs. So I'm gonna have to turn you off and maybe just take my phone camera downstairs to see what I can figure out from whatever's on the bottom shelf. Those are all my book box books, so hopefully there's something on that shelf that I haven't read. Okay, I brought you with me. This is the shelf in question, and there are actually quite a few things here that I would not mind picking up. I think my goal is to especially find something that would have an audiobook so I could be a little bit productive in the morning and get some reading in while I am getting ready and all of that. We've been joined by a Kylie who was sleeping until she heard me come back downstairs. Hi, buddy. So things that I am considering. Mistress of Lies, I don't suspect is going to work for me. I've had a few people I trust not love it, and the rating on Goodreads is not much above a 3, but I could pick it up and then see if I want to DNF it and get it off my shelves. I can't get the audiobook for this one or this one. The Cruel Illusions is a possibility. I don't remember anything about it other than obviously it's pretty. Never a Hero is a sequel, and I did enjoy the first one. I think what I want to do is go with For She Is Wrath. This one is, from what I understand, a vengeance story. I did see Monica, had a little bit of Monica, gave a 4-star, and the review definitely had me intrigued to pick it up. Talks about enemies to lovers to enemies to lovers type of dynamic and a vengeance plot. So I think I'm going to do this, and I'm pretty sure I can get the audio, or else we'll pretend this clip didn't happen and I'll pick something else. But that is my current plan. I will check back in once I get to the point of having an update for you. I have a lot of Nespresso options, so I decided to spin for it, and it gave me this guy over here, which is a cold brew. So we will be having an icy coffee for breakfast this morning. It is now Saturday morning, and it's about 9:30, I think. Like you saw, I put my random number to use to figure out what coffee to have this morning, so I've enjoyed my cold brew, and I have been listening to my book. I did not sleep well last night. I could not get to sleep. I actually picked up a book that I needed to finish for a different vlog that needed less attention, and listened all the way to the end of that and still was wide awake. But before I did that, I did make it 20% of the way into For She Is Wrath by Emily Varga last night, and then I've read about another 25% or so this morning. I'm currently at page 168, so I'm making good progress in this one. I took the dust jacket off. This is the very pretty naked hardcover underneath, and the spine is gorgeous. The back is gorgeous. They did a really good job with this one, and thankfully I am also enjoying it. Sign page from Fairy Loot. So I'm really glad that this one's looking like one I'm going to keep on my shelf, because it is, again, so pretty. This is a retelling or reimagining of Count of Monte Cristo, which is a classic that I really enjoyed. It's a revenge plot, and you can't really go wrong with that, in my opinion, when it comes to a fantasy retelling type story. We're following a young woman who is imprisoned for something she didn't do, and she's been badly treated in a horrible position. She's left behind family. She doesn't know what's up with them, if they're okay, or what has happened. Worse yet, the person who she loved, who was her childhood friend turned lover, is someone who just let this happen to her, who didn't trust that she didn't do it, I suppose, and just let her be taken and put away and never followed up on her. So she has been brewing this wrath inside her, hence the title, and she is ready for revenge. She meets a fellow prisoner who has access to some Jinn magic, and this allows our main character to change her appearance and pass as somebody else when she finally escapes from this prison and goes back to enact her revenge. At the point we're at now, she has seen this man who she loved and the conflicting feelings she has of their positive memories together, but also this righteous anger she's feeling like she has is really well done, I think, in here. I love the fierce female main character and her really legit reasons for being so mad, I think are working quite well for me in here. We only get her POV, so we're not in his head, which makes it interesting because we don't really know the true story on his side of things, but we are getting flashbacks to them as they were growing up, as they were training together. She is a fierce kind of warrior type. Her father trained her to use a sword and daggers, and she's just a fantastic main character. I am really eager to see where this goes, how this relationship is going to develop, because I think there's definitely heat between them still. There's definitely both passion and anger going on. So I am eager to keep going with this one. I have the audiobook for it. I've been reading it physically as well as I'm drinking my coffee. So this has been a good combo so far. And Monica, from A Little Bit of Monica again, is doing sprints this morning, which is great timing because she's one of the reasons I picked this book off the shelf. So all is coming together quite well. While we're embracing the random number generator and letting that make decisions for our lives, I thought maybe I could squeeze in a craft project this weekend. I have an embarrassing number of projects that have just been stacking up. I'm part of a subscription called Adults in Crafts, and they send a project out every month, and it's different things. They send all the tools and materials needed. I feature those a lot on my Bookstagram stories. I do what I call Craft and Read, where I audiobook, I do a craft, share it in my stories over there, and it's just a fun time. But I don't keep up with them. But at the same time, I get FOMO if they have a really cool project. I don't want to cancel my subscription. So I really need to get better about doing some of these. And I've thought about maybe doing like just a weekend crafting audiobook weekend type vlog at some point. But in the meantime, I figured maybe I could use a random number generator to tell me which project I'm going to be doing. So let's do that, and then I will go see what project that will be and see what I need to do to accomplish it. Okay, so I did a random number between 1 and 39. I have 36 different projects that I've flagged, and then I've got a scarf, a bag, and several blankets I'm just combining into one for crochet that I've been needing to get back to as well. So these are my options. Let's see what we get. 24. Okay, this is definitely one of the boxes, and hopefully not one at the bottom of a stack, but I feel like it might be. We'll see. I will go ahead and bring you with me to figure out what my craft is going to be. Okay, we've got a mat to work on. We've got clay and maybe a sanding type thing, a rolling pin type thing. Ooh, this has something in it. This has something in it. This is the clay extruder with different attachments. That's fun. Okay, we have a vase base, I'm assuming is what this is meant for, and a mirror. Hi! my book. So I figured that means I'm done with my clay experiment. I don't know what this is really. Basically, it said to create a moon, use some creativity to fill it in. I'm not sure I love it, but honestly, I don't think this is necessarily gonna turn out after I bake it. I don't know how well it's sticking to the mirror or not, but we'll see. Maybe it'll show up in a Bookstagram post and then get rid of it. I don't know. I'm gonna call it my spaghetti and meatball moon, because that's kind of the vibe it's giving me. I don't know. The other two things were a little more practical. One's a vase, which I'm hoping that one turns out. It's far from perfect. I realized I'm really bad at not denting the clay that I already had on the vase, but you know, whatever. And then the other thing, I decided the kit came with a suggestion to make a match holder, and that's not something that I really use. I don't use matches very often. I just use a rechargeable lighter. And so I decided, since I have a bunch of candles that Becca from Becca in the Books has made, I decided maybe I'd try to make one that I could like put under them, because I just use kind of a plain plate to make sure it's not directly on my furniture. So maybe I could do that and still. They gave us a little match lighter, and maybe I can still attach that to the bottom if it turns out. So we'll see. I'm going to put them in to bake, and we'll see if any of them worked. In the meantime, I had fun playing with it. I don't know that clay arts are going to be my go-to craft in the future, but it was fun. I like the variety of projects they gave us with this, and I have more clay if I do decide to play with it more later. So anyway, I did finish up For She Is Wrath and had a good time with this one. I think it was a solid 4-star read for me. It didn't quite suck me in enough to be 5 stars, but it was really good for multitasking. It was really good for sitting and reading in print. It let me do both very easily, and I think it was just a fun time. It definitely used the female wrath quite strongly and well. I think the fact that it was a Monte Cristo retelling, which is a classic I enjoy, also added to my enjoyment here. I think they did a really good job of making it work younger cast, because in the original, you've got a guy who's been in prison for a really long time, and it kind of makes sense. He's scruffy, he's older and everything when he goes back to enact his revenge, that people don't recognize him. In here, we're using the magic to accomplish this, and that works really well in here. I do think there were some twists in here that I liked. I didn't necessarily love the reveal of who the ultimate bad guy was at the end, but I do like some of the twists and turns, the character growth that we get over the course of the book, and the relationship development. The friendship element as well is really strong in here. So this is a good one. I do need to go ahead and get this stuff in the oven. I'm going to do that first, and then I will take you back upstairs with me where the majority of my books are, and we will do our next book, random number generator book pick from there. And hopefully it's a book upstairs this time, because, you know, that would be nice. Anyway, that's it for this one. Very happy to have had a win, and I'll check back in very, very soon. Okay, here they are, about to go in for 20 minutes at 275, and we will see if any of them come out as anything useful. Okay, while the clay is in the oven, hopefully not dying, I'm going to pick my next randomized shelf. So let me get my screen recording on and see what we get. Ready, set, and go. Shelf 15. Okay, that's definitely up here, but I'm going to have to do some counting. So that's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. 15 is all the stuff that's on top of my bookshelves. Let me take you with me if I can. This, and all the stuff up there is all what I'm considering part of this quote-unquote shelf. So let me see what I want to do here. I just did a monowad. I don't know that I want to do another one. I don't need short stories. Sorry, I'm just giving you a glimpse of flowers. There's definitely some things in here that I would like to read, and there are potentials here as well. Definitely let me know in the comments if there's anything here that I should be choosing. But I think I'm going to go for What Lies Between Us by John Mars. You are back on the tripod. Okay, Mel from Eleanor Reads actually has a 24-hour readathon that is starting soon. That is obviously overlapping with my weekend challenge. But one of the prompts for that is to pick a 5-star prediction. And John Mars absolutely has the ability to be a 5-star author for me. So I think this one's a really good one to pick up. It should, I would think, probably be a pretty good quick read, and I am excited to get to this. This is one of the ones I actually took on my vacation with me. I think it was even on my vacation TBR that I put together, but of course I took way too much on vacation and didn't get to this one. It is one that I've been very hyped to get to. I've had it since it came out, and it's been on my shelf, and it's sitting in that little basket that I tend to keep ignoring. So I think this is really good that this became my shelf to pick, and let's go with this. So I will check in once I get to reading. They survived the oven, so yay for that. Now I gotta figure out what to do with them. But the one that I made to put candles on does appear as though it is the right size. I'm not sure it's perfectly flat, but it should work. This time you may hear some barking. It seems like it's going to be another windy night, and Kylie does not appreciate it. She's out there barking at the world, and you know, the state of the world, I can't really blame her. I'm about halfway into What Lies Between Us by John Marrs, and I am really liking this one. I don't know that it feels like it's going to be a 5-star, but it feels like it's going to be a very highly rated book regardless. We are dealing with two women, and it's a mother and daughter, and this is the ultimate of toxic relationships, and there's secrets between them and weirdness between them, and not everything is 100% clear. These two women share a house, but the mother is locked in the attic. The daughter is living her life, and this is what's going on in the present day. We're getting flashbacks to the daughter as a teenager and having a very rough go of her teenage years, very rebellious, getting herself in trouble, having a lot of problems. The father left the family and she starts to rebel basically, and the mother and daughter have a very rough dynamic between them. Definitely a lot of trigger warnings in this one. Do look them up. I do feel like they're kind of spoilery, so I'm not going to go into too much detail, but it's worth looking into if there are things you're sensitive to. There are some guesses that I have about what may be going on in here. We're dealing with definitely mental health issues. We are dealing with toxic and abusive relationships, and some of that does touch on children as well. So I said I wasn't going to talk about trigger warnings. That's some of them. That's not all of them. But there definitely are theories going around in my mind as to what's going on in here. It's a very easy read. I got stuck on the couch for a while with the book halfway across the room, so I did have this one. I think it's an Audible included title, so I just know I had it downloaded already on my phone, so I've just been listening to it for the most part until Kylie decided to get up and bark at the world. So it's been going very quickly, and I am really enjoying this. My camera, or more specifically my camera batteries, seem to be wanting to put a little bit of extra challenge in this weekend challenge concept. I did realize that I filmed a whole video today without changing batteries, so that's probably why I need sleep. I do think I was done talking about the book. I was just saying I spent some time fighting with my yarn because it got tied up in knots. Combination of me leaving it out too long and Kylie getting tangled in it one too many times, which unfortunately tends to happen sometimes. So I fought with that for a while, eventually just kind of gave up, cut some off. I have way too much yarn for the current project I'm working on, and I am gonna just, I think, sit and keep listening to my book and work on my blanket a little bit before it's time for dinner. And sun's starting to go down, so that's probably pretty soon. I have no clue actually what time it is currently, but I'm guessing it's approaching dinner time. Like I said, I need sleep. It's definitely needs to be an early to bed type of night for me, I think. I do believe that I will finish up this book. I think I have about 2 hours left on the speed I'm listening to it, and then I will pick one more book tonight before I go to bed. That is at least the objective. I have been working on the nonfiction I'm reading, also the essay collection, and still enjoying that as well. I'm about 110 pages into that out of 215, so I'm making good progress on that as well. I'll update you more about that later. But for now, I'm going to get back to my reading and my crocheting, and we'll go from there. I'm at the point where I need to flip my blanket, but how do I make that super sleepy cute face move? I should be not as tired as I am at 10:30 at night on a Saturday, but I'm giving myself a little bit of a pass with that because I have not been sleeping the last several nights very well. So anyway, I'm getting ready to get ready for bed and crawl in, and I'm hoping we can maybe pick an audiobook that I can listen to before I actually give in and go to sleep, but I'm not sure my eyes are up for eyeball reading, so we'll see how this goes. But first, I do have a final update for you on what lies between us, and overall, I did wind up really getting hooked in this one. The second half of it definitely grabbed me in even better than the first half. It's very character driven. It's very who can outdo who on being bad in some ways. There definitely were a lot of twists that I kind of guessed early on. I'm guessing maybe you're supposed to have guessed some of them early on. I didn't get all of the whys and the timelines completely guessed. There were some twists that I didn't entirely expect toward the very end. There are more trigger warnings that come into this later on. Mental health continues to be an issue, and definitely some disturbing things as well. So I would look into that. But this didn't quite have me feeling 5 stars-ish until the end. It got close, maybe even a little bit. I was sitting on a 4-star throughout, and then I really couldn't put the ending down. And I'm not sure it was quite enough to bump it up to a 5, but maybe a 4.5. I think the characters were really interesting. I didn't like any of them, but they were very interesting. And I think the relationships were very interesting. And I think the author did a really good job of fleshing those out and why things were the way they were and why they each assumed the things they assumed about each other. And it does leave a few things unanswered, I would say, at the end, but it does come to a satisfying, disturbing, but satisfying conclusion, I would say, as well. So if this is one on your radar to maybe pick up, I would definitely look into the warnings, but I would also say it is worth giving a try, and also give it a while to hook you in, because I wasn't entirely sold on it in the beginning. So with that, we need to pick a new shelf, see what else we get. Okay, screen recording, and let us see what we get. Ready, set, and go. 13. Okay, let me figure out where that is. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13 is down here where you're not going to be able to see it. Okay, this is the shelf in question. And right off the bat, I thought of The 13th Child because I know Court from Reading with Court was going to be reading that this month, but I did already look earlier and I can't get a quick audiobook for that one, so I need to wait for a hold to come through on that. I'm thinking about maybe doing a thriller. I've got a few of those around. Friends Like These or The Intern. I know The Intern has an audiobook available. Bloodmarked is tempting, although it's a bit big for the end of this weekend. Friends Like These is a potential. Think I could get that one. Or if I want to go fantasy, Sky in the Deep is a potential as well. Let me see what I can get on audio. I really do want an audio at this time of night, and we will go from there. Okay, after some deliberation and checking my library for what's available on audio and factoring in a couple other readathons that I have going on this weekend, what I've come up with is that I'm going to be reading Sky in the Deep by Adrienne Young. Now, here's my logic. A, it's only a 9-hour audio. It's a YA fantasy. I just read a thriller, so this is a good change of pace. And the print in here is not super small, so I'm guessing it'll be a very quick read, and then maybe I can get hopefully one more book in. For Cassidy at Covers with Cassidy's readathon that starts tomorrow, I need a book that has either a black or white cover, and this is either black or gosh darn close to it. The audiobook definitely has a black cover, so that covers that. And then Mel from Eleanor Reads has a readathon that goes partway into tomorrow as well, and that one I either need a colorful cover, which this certainly isn't, or a 5-star prediction, and this is an author I've given 5 stars to before. So we're going to count it for that as well. So hopefully this is a win. I'm going to get in bed and start listening to it, or reading it, or doing a combination of both before I go to sleep tonight. And then hopefully I will get a little bit of a dent in it and then finish it up relatively early tomorrow. I'll give you guys an update in the morning. Tomorrow I do have a Lost watch along with Monica and a little bit of Monica. We're watching the 3-part finale for season 1 tomorrow, so that will take up a little bit of my day, and I have a few just practical things, getting Kylie to take some pictures for me for Bookstagram and a few other things I need to get ready for the week. So I do have a little bit of non-reading time planned in, but hopefully I can spend a good chunk of the day reading and at least finish this book and hopefully one more on top of that. So I will check in with you tomorrow, and for now, Good night. It is Sunday morning. It's nearly 8 a.m. and I did crash out pretty early last night and didn't necessarily get the best sleep, but definitely better sleep. So we're going to take it. And I did make a good dent into my book last night and then continued reading when I woke up in the middle of the night, rewound a bit this morning because the book actually finished while I was sleeping. And then after listening to a little bit more, I'm now at 55%. So I wanted to check in with you before I go get my coffee, reading. And I am generally liking this one. I don't think it's going to become a new favorite, but it's a good time and I'm glad that I finally picked it up. I actually didn't realize that this is considered a book 1 with the girl the sea gave back, I think is what it's called, considered book 2. I didn't realize those two were connected, but I'm going to have to pick that one up, I think, because I have heard good things about that one. So like I said, in this one, our main character is fighting with her people. There's this long time war between her people and the Riki, who are this other people. And while they are fighting, she sees her brother. And what's strange about this is he's on the other side, but also 5 years ago, she watched him die. She saw him fall off a cliff. She saw him injured in battle. They mourned him and everything else. No one believes that she actually saw him, but she knows in her heart that she did. And she winds up going off and winds up getting essentially captured by this other side. And now she's on the other side. She's seeing her brother's betrayal. She's surrounded by enemies, but ultimately she needs to survive the winter before she can maybe get back to her own people. And she winds up needing to trust her brother's friend. And as is the case with this type of story, I don't think it's any spoiler to say she begins to see that these are normal people. They have lives, they have children, they have everything that her own people have. And maybe the fight between the peoples is not necessarily an honorable fight at this point. Maybe there's a way to get beyond it. So that is kind of the general idea in here. I wouldn't say it's doing anything that I haven't read before, but I really like our main character. She is a warrior. She's fierce. She's handy with a sword and an axe and a dagger, and I do like a good stabby female character, so that is working well for me in here. So, need to pick a new book yet, but I figured let's put our random number generator to use one more time for our coffee and maybe something else. So let me grab that. Okay, I think I said I had 22 coffees. I'm just going to spin my 26 shelves little number generator, and if I get a number over 22, we will redo it. Okay, so let's see what coffee I'm going for. We got 16 for coffee. And then the other thing I thought was it would be fun to sit and have a cozy morning and light one of my very many candles using the candle base thingy that I made yesterday. So I have no clue how many candles I really have. I'm sure I have more than 26 sitting on the little shelf I have downstairs. So let's go ahead and generate a number for that as well. 22. All right, so I will grab coffee 16, candle 22, and see you later once I've finished my book. Nothing says April like a harvest candle, but I'm not mad about it. Turns out this candle's slightly wider than my candle holder, but we're gonna light it anyway, maybe. Kylie gets to get in on the randomized action. We've got a few different toys for her. Kylie, leave it. She really wants the gingerbread men. These were a gift from my best friend who gave them to her for Christmas. I've got some random turkey nuggets, a random bark box that just showed up yesterday, and a lamb or bunny, depending on how you want to look at it. And she's decided which one she gets, but
here's a number between 1 and 5. It's 5.
Oh. Okay, I think we might have to cheat this and decide that I counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because I think Kylie has decided which one she needs. Okay, the totally legit number 5 toy is now Kylie's. Wish my ears good luck because it's gonna squeak a lot. Okay, it's a little bit before 10 o'clock and I have now finished Sky in the Deep. And this was an easy read. It was fine. It just wasn't anything I thought was that fantastic. There's an enemies to lovers relationship dynamic in here, which I would say is not the main focus, but even so, I would have liked a little bit more of the banter. That's the part I like in an enemies to lovers. I think in general, the story was a little bit kind of just what I expected from the synopsis, from the premise. And that's fine. I'm still glad I picked it up. I would still be interested probably to read the next book and see how that connects in, given that it seems to be water-based and this one was not. So there is some curiosity definitely there. But for now, this was like a 3.5 type of read for me, and I'm ready to move on to my next book. Okay, let's see what our next shelf is. Ready and set and spin. And we got a 6. Ooh, I think that's good. I think that's very good. Okay, let's see. Yes. I know exactly what I'm going for. This is shelf 6. We've been here once before, and I went with an arc last time, which still haven't finished, but let's not talk about that. I'm still working on it. But The Final Scene by Steph Nelson. This is one I received in a Twisted Retreat box, and Nat and Monica were talking about this yesterday and how wild it is. Nat just read it yesterday and flew through it, so I think it's a good one to wrap things up for this vlog because I should be able to get through it pretty quickly. It is very large print in here, and apparently it is a wild, over-the-top, crazy bonkers story, such as no one kind of expects. All I know, this one doesn't even have the blurb inside it. It just says the cabin is unlocked, but there's no escape. These end papers are rather gorgeous, and naked hardcover as well, if I can get it out of the shadows. There we go. Oh, on the back it says, when Brooke was kidnapped on her way home from work, she thought her life was over. That was 10 years ago. She's been held captive in an isolated cabin on the Oregon coast ever since, scrambling to follow her kidnappers' twisted instructions to the letter. Because the price of a mistake is death, but when a new victim shows up, everything changes, including the rules. And this time, the only way to survive is to break them. I am very excited. I was hoping and manifesting that shelf 6 would come up again, so I could actually squeeze this in since it's not on my TBR for the month, but I'm now super hyped to read it. So I will check it back in with you later and let you know how it's going. I'm halfway through The Final Scene, and I have no clue how to even talk about this one. The synopsis really doesn't tell you all that much about what's happening in this book. Like, it makes sense for chapters 1 and 2, maybe. The rest of the story just kind of goes off the rails, and it's wild as I was warned it would be, and I have no idea how it's really going to play out in the long run. And honestly, I don't really want to say too much about it, because I think going into this and not really knowing what it's going to be about is part of the fun of this, and part of the hook that I definitely feel like I have in me for this, and I am really excited to keep going in it, which says a lot for this book since it's only a physical copy. I don't have the ebook and it's not available on audio, so it is one that I'm going to have to finish physically. But even though I have been distracting myself quite a bit, had to put it down for a while to make breakfast, all of that, it's 1:30, I've already made it halfway in here, so I don't have too many fears about not being able to finish this one up this evening. It's definitely the final book though, which, you know, given the title, works out quite well. That said, I do know that I need to pick back up the essay collection I've been reading for this as well. I'm not positive I'm going to get that finished tonight. That might have to wait on final thoughts. I was thinking, since I am in the middle of filming an arc attack, and it is an arc that I have, maybe I'll do some final thoughts in that arc attack. This is me just kind of thinking out loud. I haven't made any final decisions, but anyway, I'm really eager to get back to this one. I do want to get back to my essay collection. I am enjoying it still, but it is one that I think I would enjoy more spreading it out a little bit rather than just necessarily binging the whole rest of it. I am definitely hitting my, not slump, but my sleepy point of the day. I've just ordered some snacks and stuff. In about an hour and 20 minutes is when the watch along for the Lost season finale of season 1 is going to be happening. So I will be taking a reading break for that. And then I will check back in with you this evening once I have final thoughts on this book at least. if not both, but probably just this one. And I'll stop procrastinating now, get back to my reading, and talk to you later. Okay, it's Sunday evening. I'm about ready to wind down, take a shower, get in bed, relax for the rest of the evening. And I wanted to give you a final update because I did now finish the final scene and I really enjoyed this. It was a gripping read. The fact that I read the whole thing in print today, even though I was a little bit distracted here and there, really says a lot about how much I enjoyed this one. I did feel like the ending was a little fast and a little anticlimactic. It definitely had a lot of tension building throughout the book, and we got some of that tension resolved at the end in big action scenes and all of that. There were reveals and twists that I appreciated. I think the very, very end is where it felt a little bit sudden and a little bit easy. But I wouldn't say that's the tone of the whole thing. It didn't diminish my enjoyment. So overall, this one's a 4-star. I think going into this one not really knowing anything about it, the super vague, not entirely completely true synopsis, I would even say, I think actually worked to the benefit of this particular book because I just didn't know what to expect next. So this was a great success and a good way to end things off. So this is my final stack of books, and it seems quite color schemed except for the one white book. And that's also the one book I did not actually finish. I'll Look So Hot in a Coffin is one that I will keep reading. I have been very much enjoying it. I'm halfway through and still having a great time with it, but it's not one I'm going to be able to binge read tonight before bed. So I am going to go ahead and put some final thoughts in my Architect vlog since this one is coming out on May 8th, and therefore I think it fits perfectly in my Architect vlog to put some final thoughts in there to let people know a little bit more about it. So this is everything I got to. No DNFs this weekend, which was nice, and I definitely found some wins in this stack. I feel like the weekend as a whole was a wee bit chaotic with the technology issues I had, with me having to refilm the intro, so I appreciate you, if you've made it this far, sticking with me and seeing this all out. Even so, I'm gonna count this one as a success. Let me know in the comments below, have you read any of these or any of them on your radar to try? Did you see any books on the shelves that I featured for this particular weekend vlog that I should have picked up or that you would recommend I pick up in the future? Let me know all the things down below. And if you've made it this far and you don't have anything to comment, I think the only option is to let you pick a random emoji to let me know that you were here. If you can hit that like button below, I would surely appreciate it. And subscribe if you're interested in more of my weekend reading, more of my thoughts on any of the many shelves of books that I have, and my bookish content in general. But for now, I'll leave you here and see you real soon in a new video.